here we are, welcoming you to the Unnamed Unknown Podcast.
How are you doing?
Not too bad, not too bad. Can't
And it's
complain.
with a clip or it's a clip.
Yeah.
Because I saw the one they have others with
mic on you.
magnets.
We have the
This is
head.
just showing me how, right? Because I have to put on my jacket.
Man, just feel comfortable. Mushan's gonna sit here.
Okay, so I'll be.
So you will be in bit. Yeah, you can put behind.
Like the master here.
Okay, yeah, so.
And it's mostly about music, as I think like in our
Told
review.
me, yeah.
Well, like
But I can put the
fan of
mic.
music, like for traveling, walking around music, and the idea was to put a new tools to bring artists to cooperate and to introduce at the end artists in our journey. Like, and came the idea to go, okay, let's go to a podcast. We'll have to speak about it and to think out of the box and to see, for example, like what can interest the audience. And as I work for corporate and I'm running my event agency, I see like most of the time artists, young artists want to understand how they can make money with music, how the music industry is working. And then you merge with the social, not issue, but let's say challenge, like ego, structure, color of the skin, acceptation, trend. And we want to, like, but as we are friends, where you from, chatting. And our podcast is around cover and borders. So he's from India, I'm from France, Algerian roots, in between colonized countries, south.
Yeah, in video
So-
call, they give me the
And from,
Where are we
the
from
West-
again?
Algeria.
same,
And we have that
same
spirit. I grew up with that idea,
the
like I've
same,
been to
put
Jamaica,
off
Ghana, around music, and
Nice.
with that feeling, okay, I grew up with Bob Marley mix, and to understand the vibes, the rhythm, what we need music, how we can heal people with music. And that's why what we want to bring in this podcast is very dynamic pictures for people. Say, okay, I'm a big fan of music because I heard Bob Marley once and I was happy.
Yeah,
It's not
give me a
something.
feeling,
Yeah, give me that. That's exactly what I want to share with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, you can.
I was about to take you and put it in my hand.
Can I put the mic?
Yeah, you can put the mic for Kelvin.
I'm going to take off my jacket.
Okay.
Or shouldn't I not? Yeah, I should. Right.
It's super clipper.
It's better to. You can clip it somewhere here.
Yes.
On my
Yeah.
top. It matches perfectly.
Yes. For you, it's okay?
Ishan, you're texting to a girl.
Probably.
I can see at the smile. It's crazy how you can
Yeah.
see people are
For
speaking
me, it's
to
better. For me, it's perfect.
You want to see?
parents or girlfriend or
Oh,
boyfriend.
like, yeah, it's perfect. I'm
Yeah, you
not
look
too
good.
much on the visual. Some things don't get better. This is what God gave me. That's it, bro. It is what it is.
You're Dutch.
I'm
you're
Dutch.
Not Dutch. You're Dutch. You're born
Yeah.
in Netherlands?
I'm born. No, I'm not born in the Netherlands.
Where are you born?
I'm born in Ghana.
Ah, you're crazy, oh, Bruni.
I know you're a brony. Yeah, but now I'm a brony for them too. When I go back, I'm a brony. Yeah, I'm a black brony, exactly. So
Bruni, for people who do not know, it means a white man.
white man,
In the-
but it's also you can be. It's white man, but it's also if you're not like I can be a brony also.
Yeah, because you're foreign.
Because I'm foreign. Yeah, it's like
you're
it's just
different.
I'm white for them.
You're
you know.
white.
Yeah.
Oh, you're kind of bunty.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
I love Ghana actually, man. I've
Yeah.
been there to Accra.
Nice.
I spent 2 months in Accra.
2 months.
Yeah, man. I was living in, I have Africa.
2 months.
2
That's
months.
crazy.
I was in Adabraka. You know Accra?
Adabraka, yeah, the
Adabraka.
neighborhood.
Neighborhood.
Yeah, I'm not from Accra, but I've been
From,
in Accra for I've stayed there weeks on,
okay.
and I always stay there a few weeks.
Yeah,
But
really.
the last 8 years, I try to run away as soon as I land because it's becoming this African metropole, you know, where it's like a jet set for the Africans. So it's getting expensive. It's getting busy.
It was already expensive. I'm
It was already
speaking about 2009. Huh? I went over that 2009.
Yeah,
It
but
was
then
already
then was
expensive. Okay.
that was the transition for me, like 2010, 11, 12. just going to the clubs now. Going to the clubs, you can just go in. Now, if you want to go to a club or restaurant, and it's a little bit on, not say on our level, you know, if you want to
I
entertain, you want
got
to
you.
go to, bro, it's fully booked. There's a queue. They act like they want to see what you are
Yeah, but
wearing.
it changed a lot with the globalization, and I will say after 2008, with the crisis,
Yeah,
because if it's crisis in Europe, it means we developed in Africa. It's way it works, mostly.
yeah,
And that's point. I was in South Africa. I was spending time with Ghanaian, because in South Africa you have all African. So you have some Nigerian,
yeah,
some
yeah,
Gabon everywhere, and they were like starting to be international. The
yeah,
new generation start to travel,
yeah,
get their own business.
yeah,
And then they even don't need to go to Europe anymore. They
yeah,
work all year in Africa, ask for visa, and spend 1 2 weeks in Spain
yeah.
or whatever, spend their money because they get good money.
And that's a South African guy told me exactly this, that he was laughing at me for whining about Accra. He said, he said, what's happening with you is what happened with our cities. That's what happening to Accra right now. He said, like, from 20 years ago, their side of Africa, everybody was coming to Cape Town. Everybody was coming
Yeah,
to Cape
tough.
Town.
You're right.
Cape Town people developed. They're getting money now. So the middle class was growing and growing and growing. That for the locals, some of the locals, it didn't even make sense for them to live there anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
It's kind of the globalization.
Yeah.
And I always remember when I travel in Africa and meet people and speak with all generation, and they all said from black, North African like us, say, we been through three different things. Our parents were slaves, then we live under colonization, and now it's globalization.
Yeah.
And we have that kind of wave,
Yeah.
and you, as my grandfather or whatever, they can still make it,
Yeah.
but different.
Yeah.
And now we have to take it as opportunity. First to
It
stay in
is.
our country, Ghana,
It
Algeria,
is.
whatever, and then we put new tools as Bitcoin or whatever
Yeah.
to be able to be sustainable with money,
Yeah.
because was one of the big issue
Yeah.
that time, and
Yeah.
is making money and to stay in our country, because most of the people in France sometimes say, yeah, you have to go back to your country, Algeria, I'm not African Arabic. Say, I would love me. My country is like developed, like, well, I'm here, like, we're in the
Yeah.
Mediterranean, so
But there's still some obstacles.
like in the music industry, who's in front of the music, who's playing like that. And you can see now, South Africa has always provided nice artists,
Yeah.
like from
Yeah.
Miriam Makeba,
Yeah.
from white, black,
Yeah.
different kind of music, even now with black coffee.
And it even feels like they don't need someone else. Like they have their own market. That's huge.
That own market, their own creations,
Yeah.
and audience.
Yeah, it's like every time they pop, it's not like they pop to they need us. It's just that we need it more.
Because you know what they are?
Whereas with Afro beats or whatever, we need the world. You know what I mean? Like Burna Boy needs the world. You know, Black Coffee can DJ, so of course he goes to Ibiza, but I mean I've been going to Black Coffee for 10 years back to back in Amsterdam,
Yep.
in the Sugar Factory, in Jimmy Woo. Sugar Factory is 60 of us, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
definitely.
But it was us who needed him, you know what I mean? So that's the difference. It's a big country.
It's a big country, and they call themselves, and they've been created by Mandela as a rainbow nation.
Yeah.
And when you have so much differences as nature, you have emotion.
Yeah.
You have different beats. And I feel that's what they are providing.
Yeah.
Most of like black
Yeah.
coffee. I don't like that much black coffee.
Yeah,
But you
me,
have to
I
understand
used to, but I don't like
But
it
it's-
that much anymore.
That's rhythm, that's beats, that's always looking for something new with inspiration.
Innovation,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's and it's also like they're the front leaders of their side of Africa. You know what I mean? Like we have Nigeria and
Man, Nigeria is fucking big in
I
music.
know we have Nigeria and the West, but it's like it's Africa, but it's not one. Like there's a North African
Let's say we
vibes
have
and
tribes. We have tribes.
Yes,
We have
it's
tribes.
like we have East, West, South. You know
Yeah,
what I
tribes.
mean?
You have like
North,
many-
East have their own energy. South East have their own energy with South Africa and Tanzania or whatever.
And again, you merge with the ideas like music is energy.
And then sometimes we all come. Sometimes we all come together. I'm a piano will mix with the Afro beat, or Arab vibes will mix with the African Central African vibe. So that's the most beautiful thing about the
traveling with
music.
music, and we
Yeah.
don't need to speak the language.
No, no.
Now we are speaking together.
This is good. This is how a podcast should start. Yeah. Actually, we're done.
Yeah. So thanks a lot for coming. Thank you. Actually, Ishan, we were waiting you to start with us. So I will leave you a bit the mic to introduce. He's the big guys. He's the one who introduced everyone.
Perfect.
So
Perfect.
let's start the show.
Yeah.
Yes. Welcome back to the Unnamed and Unknown Podcast. That is actually the name of our podcast. It's Unnamed and Unknown.
Perfect.
Yeah, just like some of the best music ever made on this planet, which is unnamed and unknown. We wanted to keep our podcast beyond music, beyond covers and borders. Right?
Welcome.
I like it.
Welcome, Kelvin.
Thank you
Welcome.
for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you here. It's an honor to have you here. You are very active person in the music scene in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And you have, I'm sure, a great journey that has brought you here today. Finally, you have made it to the podcast, which is called Unnamed and Unknown. What a long journey. Great reward at the end as well. We would love to hear all about your journey, and we have some questions of our own. Me and Thibaut have been working together in creating this concept, mostly Thibaut as well, bringing this journey straight from Dubai now to Amsterdam.
Oh, nice.
And then in future continuing it to Bangkok, Thailand. So yeah, now we're in Amsterdam, and yeah, let's get into it. I would love for you to take the stage and share with us who you are,
Perfect.
how you got here.
Well, I'm Kelvin. I'm 37 years old. I grew up in Amsterdam. Parents are from Ghana. And yeah, Amsterdam city kid, to be very short and concrete. Roamed the streets. In my youth, I lived pretty much in every corner of the city. So I've lived in the north side, I lived in the south side, east and west. Why I emphasize on that, because from the age of 17, I started throwing parties in the city. And the handy bit is because I kind of lived everywhere and played football. So I always knew pretty much all the schools and all the guys who played football.
Like stars.
Yeah, exactly. And
Any big stars we should know?
yeah, a lot, but yeah. I mean, it's a big village, Amsterdam, so everybody knows, the celebrities or the stars who live, because you've been with them in school or whatever. But in 2003, 4, I did a documentary, and after that, I got a job at a TV station, BNN. It's like the youth TV station, and it took me to the south of France, to this clubbing scene and the French Riviera, and I saw this parties and clubbings. Came back, sat in the school desk again, and I told my friend, "Bro, I've seen something in the south of France, and I think we need to do that in Amsterdam."
Wow.
Yeah, and that's where my night party events stuff kind of
It's
kicked
very
off.
interesting. I will jump on this one.
Yeah.
Because as Ishan explained for the podcast or whatever,
Yeah.
we are like sharing about our journey,
Yeah.
especially around music. So as is Indian, I'm French with some roots from Algeria, and we are traveling for years now. And those work brought me to Dubai with some artists, to Saudi, and we were sharing that journey all together to say, okay, what's somehow coming next, how you see your journey,
Yeah.
and what is coming up from my mind when I see your parkour and your experiences is how the Afrobeat came back. Because for me, Afrobeat is from Fela Kuti, all that energy and frequency, so it's back into DNA of every musician, even in America, they don't know, but they grew up with ska and
Yeah.
all that. We can deep dive later on.
Yeah.
But where I want to merge is now the new generation came back to that Afrobeat, that's feeling, emotion, which is for me natural of music, jamming. So it's very interesting for us, and I think for the audience to understand how you throw a party, what is your inspiration, and how you bring it all your inspiration in one set.
Yeah. I mean, to continue on the, I can give you an example for my journey and with Afrobeat. So actually, my first official party was with my cousin, and we did an Afrobeats party, but it wasn't Afrobeats. What it
What
was
year?
what now? Because 2004.
2004, which
Yeah.
is
Yeah,
Different times for
different
genres.
times, and it was more niche.
Yeah.
So it was like a Ghanaian Afrobeats party, but obviously we listen to Nigerian Afrobeats. We listen to Premier Gaoué, also, like French
Ivory
Afrobeats,
Coast.
Ivory Coast, So it was predominantly African, but obviously the bangers from Senegal comes through. Mapuka hits from Ivory Coast will come through.
Yeah.
So we did that party in 2004 December for 200 people. It's very small.
Yeah, big for Amsterdam standards.
Yeah, I mean, if you compare it to the events now, but it
Yeah.
was, for me, it was big. Like, it was the biggest
I
I've
can
ever done in my
imagine.
life.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
And but we did that from, we want a space with the music for us. So your question was why, where does it come from? I think you always want something for you and your people, you know what I mean? If it's your classroom, like the other party I told you about, or what I started, or if it's my African side.
Right.
So that's how it started. Like, I mean, just creating a place for my African brothers and sisters to just party like how we party on birthdays of our aunties.
Yeah.
But now we don't want the aunties there. You know what I mean? We just want
You just want
just
a
just want to
big
walk up to that
Project
girl.
X.
You know what I mean?
So was it Project Kelvin?
It-
Project Kelvin?
I wish it was Project X. If you throw parties, there's nothing Project Xy for the organizer, because his mind is full on
Just for the audience,
everything.
Project X, the movie, became real in the Netherlands. That's an actual fact. That's
I
an
mean, I
actual
think it
fact.
became real in a lot of places on this
Yeah.
planet. We just don't know about it.
You just don't know about it.
Yeah, but
Ask
yeah.
Puff Daddy. And
As
Yeah.
Puff Daddy, you can give you some
some
if he
tips.
comes out of jail
So,
anytime.
Calvin, this podcast is not only unnamed, unknown, but it's also unpaid. So that's why we
Oh,
have to
okay,
move
guys,
around
I have
the
to
mic.
go because
So the mic will be moving around.
yeah.
And I have a question regarding your journey. You mentioned like North, Amsterdam South, East, Oost, and West, East and West. Amsterdam is seen globally maybe as a small city and as a village. If the world was a village, that village is Amsterdam. At the same time, how do you see these different regions in Amsterdam have its own cultural identity, and how did you play into that in your events?
Ooh. Um.
Or is there an identity?
Well, there is an identity, but for some reason, how should I say this? For me, it happens natural. Like I said, I always think pretty niche with every concept. So
Yeah.
for me, it's natural to just dive into this group of mine, because especially in the beginning of my career, so I wasn't really interested in different
Yeah. You just wanted to create a party for your own.
for your own. But I do look at the other groups, obviously, because that's, for instance, the party I did for my classmates or whatever, right?
Yeah.
There already was a party like that, but it was more, how should I say this nicely? It was more white. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because my first party was a 16 plus party.
There was no spice in the party.
I mean, I never went,
You
but
never even went.
no, I never went. But I was, and I'm not saying this as in a bad way, because I was like, man,
Yeah.
we need something like that too. It wasn't like
Absolutely.
I was more
Absolutely.
jealous, like, oh, they're doing good,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
have their school party, all the schools in the pipe, and that's in the south, the fancy kids have
Right.
their party, they can go, but we're not. We can go, but
Yeah.
we're not. It's not for us.
Yeah.
So I thought, you know what? Let me do the same thing they're doing. They inspired me,
Right.
and let me do a 16 plus party for the rest
Yeah.
of
No.
Amsterdam. So to come to answer your question, there are different groups, but then again, it's not that black and white. It is
No.
and it isn't. You know
And
what I
now,
mean?
the pipe gang is joining your parties, I guess.
They do come, not all of them, because I have pretty, I would say, rough parties. But I also have more commercial parties where they are.
Sorry, we do not have a sneak peek into those parties.
I mean, you can
Which-
just edit some of the clips if you're
could-
not,
Yeah, we
we could
will.
edit the
if it's
clips into
PG,
it.
if it's not PG rated. But yeah,
Yeah, it is not R rated. Okay, well.
yeah,
And
yeah.
one more question around the diversity as well. So, music beyond borders.
Mm-hmm.
One, there are no borders in Amsterdam, and it's a melting pot of all cultures. But
Yeah.
also Suriname. There's a big Surinamese community here.
Big Surinamese community.
Yeah, and it's also a melting pot of different cultures.
Yep.
India, Africa, the Caribbean. It all
South
comes together.
America.
South America, big
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
How do you, how does that influence your music and your
Yeah,
journey with the music?
it has influenced it a lot because, like I said, I always think for a niche group. But first, it was just personal. When you're young, you do stuff where you for yourself. And the older you get more professional. You need to pay your bills. So I started to develop, or let's say automatically, I started to develop concepts that are not close to me, but were for other groups I thought would need it, or I got inspired by. Like I've been to Brazil and I saw Cidade Deus, and there was a time where we
Epic.
were
Yeah.
doing, yeah, it was like magical for me to see the movie, right? And I was listening to this selection, and funk edits were coming out in 2012, 13, 14. Was totally fresh. Kai Tranada and all these guys, Sampa, all these guys was coming with this melancholic funk bass. And then I saw this movie and I was like, and hip hop and R&B was kind of dead. I mean, they were saying hip hop was dead and everything. So for me, I was like, okay, maybe I need to do this party where it's just like baseline, more baseline,
Baseline. Yeah.
more booty
If
shaking,
it's
more,
if it's well Amsterdam in somehow.
and not too cool. So not for like me and my cousins, we go to the club and we just, we would stand like this, and I was fed up, like,
European style in the
yeah, I'm
club.
throwing a
Yeah,
party
yeah, yeah.
and everybody's just like,
Yeah, I remember my first travel was in Ivory Coast, and we were speaking about party and club or whatever. And the first picture we got is like, you arrived in that kind of party and club in Ivory Coast, but you don't have seat. You have a sound and people dancing.
yeah,
You don't have table, doesn't matter. You
no,
have no
that's what
chairs,
you
no
want.
table. You are jamming, and you're making music for that and
Yeah,
dancing. That's definitely like the big way of living music in
yeah,
Africa. And
yeah,
when I listen to you, I can see first you're from West Africa, which
yeah.
is the music
Mm-hmm.
is very deep from tribes, from different way of expression. And then because I live in Ghana for a while in Ivory Coast, and I still remember because I was a big fan of reggae, and Ghana is from
Yeah,
back
we
of the
love
day.
reggae.
Reggae is big over there.
We have a whole neighbor, Jamestown. It's like
Thank
fully
you,
reggae.
thank you, thank
Yeah,
you. It was epic. And now, because I travel as well, I got the chance to travel in Jamaica. We are turning the new generation of all that's reggae man and reggae vibes are turning in reggaeton, and
yeah,
more reggaeton, let's say, and some
yeah,
Afrobeat.
yeah,
And always wondering, asking myself, is it because of the civilization way of consuming? We are as well eating, listening music as we do other things. And I won't go too deep with that, but
Mm-hmm.
like I feel we are missing some rhythm, some music, some expression. And when I see what you are doing now with Favela, which I know from Dubai as well,
Yeah,
with Powerhouse, and It's the same. It's Nigerian people,
Yeah.
Ghanaian. So it's again West
Yeah.
Africa. And I will ask you a simple question around that. If you have to ask yourself now, which country inspire you the most about music, and even more, which people and where they live? I would say for myself, for example, Fela Kuti, which is very inspiring for the music, the rhythm, and the politic way as well. So my question is, which country you will choose now to say, yeah, this one is for me, it's top, like Jamaica or whatever. You have to choose one. Like the country for you is like wow. And even I feel like Ghana is one of the top.
Yeah, for me, instinctively, I know it's a kind of boring answer, but it would be Ghana, to be honest.
Yeah, but it's something, man.
If
Ghana.
I had to pick, but just because it's close to my heart, and
And which
I,
artist from Ghana? I'm sorry, which artist from Ghana you will choose?
phew, I mean, it flows into different eras, you know. I can't even name. I mean, I can go to Vis-a-Vis. We have this band called Vis-a-Vis. It's more jazzy. I think there's the 60s, 70s, and I don't know his name, but it's this guy from the 90s, and he was making like funk, like African house funk type of music before it was even.
Yeah, like the Nigerian guys, William Abungayo. You know him?
No,
I will send it.
send it to me. But
It's
this
like
was
from
like,
70,
yeah,
60.
but they're making like disco and funk. Wait, with
Like
synthesizers.
the Rai in Nigeria.
Who?
Rai, the
Yeah, right,
the
yeah,
Rai, the
yeah, yeah,
Nigeria,
yeah,
making
yeah,
synth,
yeah.
like also like now you can
Those type of things,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
So
yeah.
for me, it's like, oh my God, how can it be that they were busy, that they were doing this, while at the same time it's evolving in the West, or sometimes even before it was evolving in the West. It's crazy, you know. Or the Congo, you know, before salsa was salsa, then you hear these rhythms in Africa, and the band was from Ghana. It's like, oh, so for me, the easiest answer is Ghana, but not because it's
It's your
the best,
country, yeah.
but it's because I
You inspire.
discovered,
I ask you inspiration country. I
yeah,
didn't ask you for
yeah,
the best. So
yeah, it's
Ghana,
not,
100%.
but it does inspire me every time. And that leads me to the rest or the roots, you know, because sometimes you can hear this Congo drum band, or can hear Fisa Fis,
Yeah.
and then I listen to their interviews or whatever, and then they tell me, yeah, they met a band, an African band from the south of France. I'm like, what? So they met something, an instrument in the south of France while they were touring, and it changed their whole music. So it's not even an African thing. They brought it back. Somebody saw it from Cuba, and then now it's popular in Cuba. So that inspires me a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
So, have you, if you go back down your memory lane,
Yeah.
who is someone, or what is maybe one travel experience, or some sort of experience that really inspired you or moved you into a new direction for your music?
Oh,
It could be that party, right?
yeah. That party was big for me because obviously I started doing like real big parties when I went to the south of France, but it wasn't musically inspiring, to be honest.
No.
It wasn't music inspiring. It was more like event wise, the way the production, they did the production, they
Yeah.
did the promotion.
Yeah.
That was inspiring. But music wise, inspired?
Yeah, the recent music is not that inspiring. People say
No,
I've
no. But I
you got to
mean,
go back to the decades.
yeah, I mean, you always, if you love music, you always get inspired. I went to Asia, and I ended up in a
Yeah.
bar in Malaysia, and there was this band.
Been to India yet?
No,
No?
no, I really want to go.
Just seems
Yeah.
getting somewhere.
I
Yeah.
read this book, so, and this book took me. It felt like I was there already. Shantaram.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know that.
Shantaram.
Yeah,
Oh, damn.
yeah. So I was like, oh, like you feel like you're there if you read that
It's
book. It's this
crazy.
big also, so
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's very
I
descriptive.
think
So
it
one day
was.
I'll go,
Yeah.
but it's not high on my list because big countries always. I want to, like China, India. I really need a month. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I can't
It's
just go.
diverse. It's like a
It's too big,
continent. It's
different
a
culture.
subcontinent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not
Absolutely.
high on my list
No.
because I really want to go good
Yeah.
if I go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Take your time there.
yeah,
Happy
exactly.
to happy to join you on that trip.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
I'm wondering, because a big part of your work life right now is also organizing events at Soho
Yeah,
House,
yeah,
which is a different type of community,
yeah,
more closer to the pipe than
yeah.
the
Well, now,
Afro Beats
yeah,
party.
yeah, yeah. It's something.
People are not dancing there either,
No,
sitting
I mean
down
they are on
every once in
occasion.
a while.
Yeah, on occasion, but through the week is a more, how do you say, loungy setting
Yeah,
part. Yeah,
yeah. And
yeah.
how is it like organizing events there or booking DJs?
Yeah, so I've been booking
Yeah.
DJs.
Yeah, tell us about your
Yeah,
experience in the recent times with
yeah.
Soho
So I
House.
ended at Soho House in 2021. 2020 came. Everybody knows the sea disease came. We don't want to think about it anymore. But I couldn't throw parties anymore, obviously, for
No.
obvious reasons. So I went on holidays, traveled, took a break, and just chilled out.
Yeah.
And
Back
after
to south of France.
back to south of, no, I wish I couldn't. You couldn't travel. I went to. I was walking through this city and there was no one, so I was
Yeah.
taking that in.
No windows back then either.
But yeah, so after a year, I decided to find a job
Right.
for the first time in my life, to find the first a full-time job.
Yeah.
And somebody tipped me that they're looking for this type of person, and they think I would be great for this job. And it was the membership manager at Soho House Amsterdam.
Right.
So I took that, and from that moment, it took a few months. Then I started booking the DJs for
Yeah.
Soho House because of my background, but it wasn't my job because I was a membership manager. But it's easier for me to do. So
You ended up in that
I ended
job.
up booking all the DJs and just doing some small parties or throwing up ideas.
Yeah.
And after 2 years, I left as a membership manager because the CDZs left also, so I could do parties again. And
Funny.
but I kept on booking DJs, so
Yeah.
I'm more of DJ booker. Sometimes I throw up ideas or a few DJs that make up an event, but I'm
Yeah.
not responsible for the full production
No.
anymore since I left. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. It's 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 quite interesting that you were working on this, community as a community manager and a membership manager during a period where there was absolutely nothing going on.
Yeah.
And I mean, Fred again brought the music back and the
Yeah.
dance back. But how was it like when things were down? People were maybe a bit in their bubbles as well. And
I
how was
mean,
it like
it was an amazing time, to be
engaging the
honest.
community?
Yeah, it was an amazing time. I think you just had to be in the know because everything went back to the root, let's say, For me, it was hurtful because I'm a commercial guy now. I'm not like, it's not like I'm 19 throwing these club parties and then after parties. I was just doing big halls. So that part was done, but kids were throwing parties everywhere, bro. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, house parties,
Yeah.
underground parties. So
I remember Amigos became a big
a
app.
place, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Good.
Those, but those, apart from that, there was so much going on in the city. So that was kind of
Yeah.
good, and a lot of things rose in that period to into the landscape we see now.
Right.
Event wise. So that was good. And as soon as it,
Something specific you want to mention that's like re- still the after effects of
I mean, electronic music like had a new boom
right.
for sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, it had a new boom, and it had also had like it turned into a new path. Also, we went to a little bit more harder music in the. I mean, techno had a full new revamp.
Yeah.
Techno wasn't. I mean, the biggest party in Netherlands now is a techno party.
Yeah.
So when we have Verknipt in the Amsterdam Arena, that's the effects of Corona. You know
Okay.
what I mean? Verknipt was good and they were big, but house was always more commercial,
Yeah.
and techno was more under. But
Underground.
now you have, I mean,
Techno is at the forefront.
I'm, let's think about Sensation White. I don't know if you guys know Sensation White or Sensation Black. That was
Yeah.
more hardcore techno, but Sensation White was the biggest thing, and I was in the arena. Now
Yeah.
you have techno in the arena,
Yeah.
so it's like
Yeah, I mean,
a switch. You know what I mean? And now house is
definitely.
coming back
Yeah.
in like a Afro housey way, with a black coffee and a kind of music, and that's now getting commercial. But it changed the whole landscape those 2 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, you say like something like the trend and the yeah, let's say the trend is like a circle
Always,
coming back always.
always,
Yeah,
always.
yeah.
We go from hard to
And
soft to
and
hard to soft to hard to soft.
and
It's the
it's
world and the feeling. It depends on how the. Somebody once told me that he was a guy in Asia, and he told me that when the world is happy, it influences what's popular in music. When the world is sad, it influences and it is not to say that when it's happy you hear like happy sounds or whatever, because it could be that if it's a happy world, it can also mean like people want more, more, because it's escapism.
is a way of expression.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if it's a happy world, how do you want to express ourselves? Maybe we need that a little bit
That's
darkness.
where the podcast came from.
Yeah.
Because like we said, we were like I grew up with Fela Kuti or Miriam Makeba and
Yeah.
Bob Marley at that point is like they would they could be able to express something we even don't know yet about ourselves.
Yeah.
Especially for me, like
Exactly.
to be Bob Marley, Métis, African and white is kind of schizophrenic situation,
Yeah.
but with these simple lyrics and vibes. Because even I wasn't able to speak English, I could understand.
You could
You're a
feel it.
warrior, you can feel it.
Yeah.
And now I'm thinking about the audience and people who following us about our journey as agency, as promoter for music in Saudi, in Amsterdam. And it's mostly we are speaking about the new audience. This means the new generation. So as we said in the music industry, let's say the client is very young, around 25 years old is already the oldest client. So creating community for every new artist, people want to be in part of it. They know now they have to create that community.
You have
And
to.
I will ask you if you can give us 2 or 3 tips for new guys or us to create a, let's say, the best community, like okay for sure like looks like you or like is following you, but which advice from scratch, see your experiences, I'm sure from favela, from all your party you organize, you thought and you created. So please give us a bit of experiences and advice about creating community for music.
I think it's very easy, and I would look into it in a few steps. It's easy, but the only thing is it takes time and patience. And that's the problem we have now, especially with the new generation. We want everything yesterday,
Yeah.
and it's simple. If you're creative, you're making something out of there's a will inside you that makes you do certain things, and you have to feel every day like I need to put this out. Like I had a party, and I had it, and something in me was like, oh, I need to put this out because I want it, but because I think everybody behind me wants this too. So I would always try to pen down or put down what this feeling is and where it's coming from, because that's your root. And if you keep to that, obviously we change. But if you keep to that, you'll attract your people. And then the next step comes in is how can you make sure you find your peoples.
Yeah.
What's the best way to
So it's
let them know?
authenticity.
Yeah, yeah. Authenticity is the most important, obviously, but you need to let them know that this is the authenticity this girl that's walking there also wants and needs in their life. How can you show it and find your following? But like I said, this takes time. You can always use these marketing gimmicks, and they do work. I
Yeah,
mean, let's be honest.
yeah, you are way
It sounds
algorithm.
corny. It sounds corny sometimes, but um, I always have these. I had this. I was doing this mentorship program for Soho House, and my mentee is a very very, it's all about authenticity,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty commercial because I'm older, so I'm like, it's
Where
cool.
is the money? Where is the
Yeah,
money? Bring me
yeah,
the money.
but I did this whole mentorship to get that feeling back, from the youth,
Passion.
where they just do it for the passion, um, and I told them from the beginning, listen, this is how I am. I'm commercial and I'm not gonna hide from it because I grew into this. I had to pay my bills or whatever, and I had to grow or whatever. And you are very authentic, but I want to learn from you to get that feeling back because I need that to create real good stuff, But you also look at how I'm doing commercial because he was in a big step of getting asked for the Paradiso or whatever, so he had to do commercial stuff. But I'm saying all of this is to say you need to find the balance,
Yeah, exactly.
not because of money wise, but
The
to find your
audience, to
people,
reach the
to find the
audience.
people.
And remind me a
Exactly.
story about, I went to Jamaica to the place of Chris Blackwell, with
Okay, nice. Yeah,
Island
yeah.
Records. And we were speaking about Bob Marley journey because I'm a big fan. I went to Jamaica to understood a bit what was the story about him because we know the commercial story, but deep inside him was a lot of struggles and
Of
way of
course.
making the music. So he started to work as a worker in the States and back to Jamaica, but he was mostly a road boy. He was not a Rasta man. He was a road boy in the tough districts. And once he was doing ska, almost church music.
Yeah.
Bob Marley was in church music, making money, as you said. And he met that guy, Chris Blackwell, say, you got something, but you have to be understandable to the West.
Yeah.
So he sampled it.
Yeah.
Easy as it is.
Yeah.
Simple like that. He sample it, say, look, 2 or 3 minutes, stop your African
Yeah.
shit, like during whatever, and then you will get those.
Yeah.
And from that, they create something, that.
And he found his people. That's what I'm trying to say. That's
So,
exactly what it
and
is.
and then they have a big fight with Peter Touch.
Of course, Peter Tosh was always the problem
Yeah,
because he's
but
very pure.
pure. And he wanted to stay. That's
Of course.
and but it's very interesting to how to reach your audience. And at the end, as Bob Marley said to him, I guess that's not that word, but the meaning is like, if we want to tell our story, we need to be international and to share.
Yeah.
We cannot stay in your island and just say, we are pure and we don't speak to them. Because
Yeah.
at that time, Rastafari guys do not wanted to speak to white guys
No,
as well.
of course
It
not.
was the struggle about it. And when you see the journey and what Bob Marley brought on the table, for me is like more than a musician.
Of
And that's
course.
what music does, is emotion, frequencies where every people can recognize themselves
Yeah.
with few words. And if you ask your grandmother and every people around, they will know Bob Marley. And even deeper, if you go to favela, poor district, with a Bob
Everywhere.
Marley t-shirt,
Everywhere.
we're not having any issue about it. It
Everywhere.
represents something. That's where we merge with this podcast, is to put the future of music with our journey. Artists to say what you can bring next, what you want to bring next. Okay, you have to make food in your fridge, so go on the audience. That's club like that. Afrobeats is a new trend. Let's merge. And where we can find new trend, new stuff. And if you wish, which kind of trend and things you will bring alive and to put people again dancing together. Which kind of music you will produce and put in the club?
So your question is, what music would I put out now
Yeah.
if I wanted to bring people together?
Yeah, mainly, how would you curate an event and what
Your own
music?
music, yeah.
Yeah.
My own music.
Yeah.
The best frequencies, best BPM to make all people happy together. Your remedy.
I would be around. I'll be between 118 and 125 BPM
Yeah. 125 is a classic.
because we need to. But again,
it's
it needs a quite. Yeah, it's quite.
Yeah.
I would say 115 to 123, and it would be quite hard. I don't know. I think the world is in need of just, just going for a while. But then again, I mean, I'm so diverse. It's hard. But that's the first thing that came into me. So maybe that's it.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
115, 122,
Yeah.
and then just light but rhythmic
Lights up.
energy. So you can be between housey, but it can have this techno bass line also. I think I would be there, but but still airy. I don't know if I can.
Yeah, light.
Yeah, light, and it can be playful. It can be
you want
playful
to.
and rhythmic, but it has to be light. That's where I would.
Yeah.
That's where I would be right now, music wise.
I'm curious, in your experiences, how do you see Amsterdam from the eyes of the outside world when you travel, and what how is it close or further away from what actually goes on in Amsterdam when it comes to parties? Because Amsterdam is a party hub, right? Like it's the
Yeah,
best spot for a bachelor party. It's like
yeah,
Vegas, Berlin,
yeah,
Amsterdam. It's in the same conversation.
yeah. Like you said, for the outside world.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So, I mean, I see it in both ways. And I think if you ask anyone who has this stigma around the place they live, they see it also in both ways. And I respect that because everybody has their own experiences and yeah, and right to
yeah,
decide. I mean, if it's um if it's a stag hub, I mean, it is a stag hub. People come here and have their bachelor parties and have an
yeah.
amazing time. But somebody comes here on a romantic trip and it's also a romantic place. So I don't know. It's a hard question for me
Yeah.
to
How do you see music influencing
answer.
this?
In Amsterdam,
Yeah.
I mean, we're pretty much electronic. The
Yeah.
influence we have is more electronic, and we're doing pretty good with that.
Yeah.
So I would say electronic wise, it's that. Of course, there's numerous influences going on,
Yeah.
but we're we're too small sometimes to for that to reach the world. But it sometimes happens, and it happens on the background. I mean, we have great singer songwriters who you don't hear from, but they end up writing for a Beyonce or and getting Oscars or starting working for Sony. I mean, we have a huge studio here. The owner is one of the best singer songwriters, but we just it doesn't come out.
Yeah.
Only the electronic
Do you think the
that's what we're
Dutch
known for.
do you think the Dutch music scene is underrated at the global in the global scene?
No, no, it's not underrated. It's exactly
How
what
it's
what
supposed
it
to.
is. I mean,
Yeah.
singer songwriters. I mean, you're not going to be popular being a singer.
No,
That's the whole
no,
idea,
no.
right? You're in the background. And electronic music wise, I mean,
And they
we are
even
known for that, no?
yeah, and
So
they even get the West industry to help them to be where they are standing.
also,
Also, so because if
also,
you look at the influences, is even bigger artists, French or American, they're Black American, North American, North African, or whatever. It's a mix, and that's where we are standing.
yeah,
It's like beyond borders, and but for sure you have location or like iconic location,
central.
central, even
Yeah.
iconic for the music history.
Yeah,
I would say like Paradiso
yeah,
or Melbeck.
yeah,
And that's for me like all about that journey or to learn about music,
yeah,
what inspire people at that time,
yeah.
what's coming next, and for you, what the best venue you use or you've been throwing party in Amsterdam.
I mean, the most iconic I would say is where I do favela right now.
Where?
It's called Club Air.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Um, yeah. And why is it the most iconic for me? Because it used to be the It, and the It was like how can I? Yeah, it's like the 80s. It was the 80s and 90s
When
club,
is
you know what I
okay?
mean, and very LGBTQ friendly, and it was like this time of age where it was like I don't know how to explain, but like raving,
Yeah, it was still the
open
rave. I think it's
raving,
the 90s, and
yeah,
what represents Amsterdam for all Europeans is
yeah,
that raves. When
yeah,
you go out for 2, 3
exactly. It
days,
was like that new revolution that was
revolution.
in
Yeah,
places
yeah.
like the Roxy, the It,
It's
and so that's a place I do parties. I would say number one, but obviously live music nothing comes close to Paradiso. You know, I mean,
Yeah,
we've got
Paradiso is so iconic.
got
Melveg
the
as well. Melveg, you have a
Melbourne also, but I mean, Paradiso has had
yeah,
some
yeah, yeah, yeah,
like before my time. You know, before I was born,
indeed.
crazy
Yeah,
stuff
yeah, yeah. Well,
happening. You know.
during the hippies,
Yeah,
yeah, was
yeah.
it?
So yeah, I still want to do a party. One day I have this idea with one of my parties that I want to do the jubileum there just to tell my grandkids, you know,
Yeah, I did it.
I did the party in Paradiso, you
And
know.
when is the next favela party?
Favelas every month. I think next week Friday is
Okay, next Friday.
next Friday is
So we
another
should
one.
go, Ishan,
Yeah,
together.
come. I'll be
Yeah, yeah,
glad to host you
yeah, yeah, yeah. We
guys.
should. I never did favela, but last month I was in Dubai, and some friends organized favela over there,
Oh,
and they are
nice.
from Nigeria.
Oh
Some from
no,
some brothers.
crazy.
Very. I will
Somebody told
introduce.
me this also.
Yeah, in
Like he
there's
said, like they found out that I was African. Is like, how is an African guy doing
favela.
favela? Because there's in Dubai, African guy doing favela too. I'm like, hey,
Yeah, but it's becoming is getting huge in
yeah,
Dubai. Yeah, yeah. I know
oh
the guys. I will
nice,
introduce them to you because I think you
yeah,
have some
yeah,
things to share. Definitely,
I think so too.
they are now creating the pit, a new kind of
Party,
party, but more around like Black African.
okay,
That is very
nice.
yeah, it's very nice. I will introduce them to you.
That would be
And
great.
Ramses, if you listen to us, is one of the guys from all they are from Nigeria.
Okay,
They are getting somewhere, so I think to merge Amsterdam, Dubai
that would be
would be
nice.
nice
That
to
would be
share.
cool
Like
to
yeah,
switch.
yeah, and
Nice,
about favela, which is crazy because favela is
yeah,
Brazilian.
Brazilian. It is.
So and now you it looks like the Africans are running the world.
I mean, I
Yeah,
wouldn't say we're
yeah,
running
yeah.
the world, but we're doing our thing. It's just yeah, yeah. I mean, as it's about to happen for Africa though, if you're
Yeah.
going political wise,
Yeah,
but
but yeah, we are maybe in what's the topic at this podcast with Ishan. We want to fix this situation because I remember I was a big fan of Michael Jackson.
fix what situation?
Like, is it black or white, the music? And I remember like
I mean,
Michael Jackson has a trouble until the end with that. Is he white or black? I don't know, but trust me, it was epic music. And Michael Jackson was a
yeah,
rude guy as well. He
yeah,
looks like very,
yeah,
but he was a rude guy. And I feel that's music is definitely from Africa,
yeah,
but made now like owned by whites
yeah,
in the industry.
yeah,
And that's how sometimes make us like, okay, we have to create something. So let's say in Brazil, they
yeah,
dance, in Africa or South Africa, some rebels
yeah,
music, and it's our expressions.
yeah,
And now I feel like, okay, what's next? Because you're running this, even in Brazil, is
yeah,
African people. Black people
yeah.
in Brazil is African. So why and how you're gonna run this world with music?
I mean, this is what I believe, and it may sound a little bit crazy and airy,
No, here for that, man.
but I think it's forever gonna be like this, bro. You know why?
Doesn't matter.
Because no, it does matter because it's good to give recognition to something where it's from. It's very important. You know what I mean? But and I'm not saying this because I'm black,
No, no,
but
no. You are white, so
a
doesn't
lot
matter.
of a lot of the music has its roots around Africa or black people for some kind of reason. Um, but it's always other cultures who develop it or change it or broaden it or take it
Yeah.
further. And
Yeah.
that's the most beautiful thing I believe about it. But why I said it's very important to let it be known who's behind it is
Right.
that you always have to give recognition.
Absolutely.
And in the system we live, as in the West and whatever, the West is like it's the West, you know, it's capitalism. So everything they get in their hands, they will explode.
Yeah.
And that's when it comes to say, where you say, where do we take control? We can't take control because we have control. It's just that they make it so big, and the purist is sometimes the African in this case, and they don't have that. They don't need that. You know, Bob Marley and Peter Tosh, like what you just explained to me. You know, is it now for me to say, is Bob Marley's music black or white, and should it be all Bob Marley's, like the success and the money should it be Bob Marley's? No, because he didn't care. The music label wanted it to be big. What was it? Rock Blackwell, you said?
Yeah,
He,
Chris
he
Blackwell.
Chris Black.
So
He wanted to be big, but Peter Tosh, he's like the opposite. He's just happy to say, "I made it." So let Peter Tosh get the recognition, because that's his $1 million. You know what I mean? The label's $1 million is the $1 million, and
Papers.
Bob Marley's $1 million is getting his message out.
yeah,
So I think it's good if it stays like that. Not everything is about money. I love money, but not everything
yeah,
is about
That's where
money.
music stand and puts
yeah.
revolution.
Yeah,
Because
sometimes it's the message that it's important. Sometimes it's the money. Sometimes this is the Peter Tosh type of guy who just want to be like, I just want to, this is for
jamming.
me, and this, I just want to jam. You know what I mean? Fuck the money, fuck everything. And everybody can be happy. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah, at the end of the day, any production is a team effort,
Yeah.
and the people behind it, are they black, white, it doesn't matter.
No.
But that's who
Doesn't matter.
actually, those are the people who actually brought the music to the forefront. And
Everybody has
we know
their
Bob
big
Marley
in it.
because there are people behind Bob Marley who brought him to
Yeah.
the world
Yeah.
stage.
Exactly.
You say
Exactly.
And jumping a bit of a sidestep, coming back to Amsterdam from the global scene, what do you think about the jazz scene in Amsterdam? And it has had its influences, it's gone in phases. It still is sort of big in Amsterdam. Um, yeah, what, which colored people go there is a different question, but how do you see jazz influencing the music scene? It has its influence in also melodic techno and house as well. There are elements of jazz. So, yeah. How do you?
For me, my perspective in jazz is more on an event level, because I don't go to jazz events as much as I should, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a common thing though. A lot of
Yeah.
people, or anyone I talk to personally, I say and talk about jazz. It's like, oh, we should definitely go. Jazz
Yeah.
is so cool. Like, let's
Yeah.
go. But somehow, no one actually like
No.
not. It's not a popular mainstream.
so which
like I
which,
was like I was
place?
yeah, like I was just saying now, I believe the mainstream now is a little bit more, because you asked me what type of music would you make.
That's why
And it's a time of age, I believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. The energy of the world is a little bit more in the higher BPM, I believe. You know
Right.
what I mean?
No.
But if you hear it, you're like, oh, I should go more, like what you
Yeah.
said. I mean, every Wednesday we do jazz
Yeah.
in
that's-
Soho
yeah.
House.
Absolutely.
You know,
And
so
it's-
we still love it. And
Yeah.
they are, a friend of mine does this concept. It's called like a jazz concept he does mixed with clubbing.
yeah.
So he starts with a jazz band, and then they go into house with jazz influences. So
That's wonderful.
that's the answer
Yeah.
for your question.
Yeah.
That concept, like all the people who go to that event love real jazz,
Yeah.
but they need
Jazz
that
is-
housey, element to it. And I think that's where jazz is, and it's great, and it will, like we just said, it goes in circles.
Yeah.
We'll go back to the time where
Would you say jazz is like the mother source because it has its influence into hip hop?
I wouldn't
it
say the
has its
mother
in
source, but it is
house.
close to the mother source, but it's not. The mother source is
It's just music.
It's are the
It's-
instruments,
absolutely,
bro.
absolutely,
it's
absolutely.
it's a string. It's a string
Yeah.
that goes ring ring.
Yeah,
it's
we've been having music
a
for
slap on the couch. That's the
Yeah.
that's the source. Yeah.
Yeah.
And jazz is close to it because it's a real instrument genre.
Yeah.
So it's close to that.
yeah,
music start with before
Yeah.
instrument.
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
music is in nature.
Yeah.
Thibaut.
Exactly. So
Have
that's
you
the
heard
source.
the rivers in the mountains?
Not
That's
that the,
music.
that the sound. Then your brain make it music.
Yes, yeah.
The interpretation.
You guys are going
Okay.
deep, man.
We're going-
Somebody got a joint here. We can just.
It's just a Friday. We're recording this on a Friday.
That's exactly the meaning of this podcast is to
Yeah.
go deep and to put back emotion and frequencies and not only money and time. Because as you say, even for clubs and making parties, creating events, the crowd and people change. So I won't say it's only because of cocaine, but it's faster.
Yeah.
Faster. So you don't have any more like the reggae community or the jazz community was Ishan was saying. Name how many places who doing jazz now. back in the days, Sunday was full of jazz, everything. But
It
as you
was
say,
the jazz was the party.
yeah,
Now it's like the drink, the date
the drink.
place.
Yeah.
You know, where you just sit down
So,
to
so
go with
if
your date.
definitely, so if we understand that well and we are thinking about it, it's not the good way of living because most of the time now we are listening and we looking at retreat, slow life, and for sure, if we want to go out, having a drink, speaking to you, you need more BPM, more frequencies. So we are in the middle of where to go, what to provide, more cocaine, more BPM, and to get wild, which can kind of party as well. On Friday night, I go with my friend. I want to go wild, but then is how we deal music and with the industry, or maybe about politics and what you want to share with people because at the end jazz we put jazz maybe on Sunday because you need to come down to share with your friends. So let's say, and I would say, you have a time for music during the day, during the week, and the season as well, and how you will spend your Sunday evening with music, which kind of music expect except jazz now, but which is putting you like relax, chill vibes, and opposite which one will put you like a rebel like okay I need to do that or I need to wake up and to get to stand up man. So
My
the
chill now is
yeah
it's called private school Amapiano.
okay
I'm not an Amapiano
yeah
fan,
but
to be
to be
clear.
honest he's got
But if you listen to private school Amapiano,
private school
or jazzy Afro house, it's like 113, 114 BPM. A lot of jazz. You got piano. You got how do you
The
say?
flute,
No, a flute
saxophone.
also, but sax.
saxophone
They call it private school because it's like elite, like people go to the private school, listen to this amapiano. I think that's the
yeah the
concept.
reason
Like
behind
there's normal amapianos for like the more hardcore underground. And this is more elite, because it sounds jazzy.
Yeah.
But I'm in love with it. I even have a set online that I play, and I would say private school amapiano and
okay yeah
jazzy deep house.
okay perfect
That's for my Sunday. And to go all out,
like why okay
wild, I would like this up tempo Latin Afro bass, the techno vibe. I mean,
The buzzwords in
I've
Amsterdam
been
right
to,
now.
yeah, exactly. I was I went to Lowlands last year,
okay
Oh yeah.
and there's no genres anymore. You know what I mean? I can listen to a DJ, and he goes from a techno beat to a up tempo Afro house beat. I know it's Afro house, but they edited it into like a
Yeah.
techno tempo, and then cross over to like a garage
garage
bass
UK
hell. What is it called? Bass. What's that? Bashment or bass? No,
Drum and bass.
drum and bass.
Yeah.
Into a drum and bass, and it's a drum and bass DJ. I found out,
Wow.
and I don't like drum and bass, but I love
That's my
what
Spotify
he did.
every
You
day.
know,
Just
exactly. But that's when I understood.
moving from
That's how I understood the
yeah.
whole. Because I could never understand. If you talk to people, the first thing they say, drum and bass. I'm like, huh? The next, you talk to somebody else, drum and bass, drum and bass. I'm like, I've listened to drum and bass, and it's not. But obviously,
Not
I
that
checked it out,
I'm
and it changed, and there's different drum and
yeah
bass.
you
yeah.
have jungle
Yeah,
Yeah,
just to
yeah,
be clear though, I'm not someone who is like typically into drum and bass. Maybe house and French pop
I'm
is
not
my thing.
judging.
But but to say like our Spotify playlists are so diverse.
Yeah,
You have day lists now which are more nuanced,
yeah,
but I think your general shuffle has all kinds of music. And
yeah.
do you think the digital music revolution in that sense, or having your iPod to now Spotify, Apple
True,
Music, or whatever, has that influence on what you're
true.
saying? Like
Very much,
DJs.
very much. I think so. I didn't even look at that way, but it's obvious, because like I said, I went to Lowlands and I see there's no more genre DJs. You
No,
know what I
it's
mean?
just a shuffle.
It's like an
It's just
energy and a tempo, and they can go like to
yeah,
anywhere. They just keep
yeah.
that tempo. I went to another DJ. It's called Ben Wall from the north of the Netherlands, and he had this techno, but 90s Euro trippy house also, you know.
So
Just, but it just kept me going, like,
I have a
you know.
fun
So I
question
love
for
that.
you. Now that we have AI and everything,
Mm-hmm.
put yourself in a place where you're sitting in front of a screen. There is one text prompt, and you have to say the prompt to create a music, a type of music. What would be that prompt?
Depends for what.
You input. I want a music which
I would
has
say, for my own personal benefit, create a melancholic techno tempo jazz influence beat with African inspired drums.
That's beautiful.
That's
Which
what
kind
I
of
would.
drums?
I don't know. Let the AI figure it out. African inspired.
Man, it's
It can be a Congo. It can be a
Yeah, but
Congo
I'm
drum.
just
It can be
adding
a
something.
djembe
Yeah, djembe,
brand. It could be like the small djembe
darbuka,
with the stick.
darbuka.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it could be, or even the just whatever, a big one where you just go boom, whatever. It's AI. It'll figure it out.
So yeah, I can see all the new generation they put AI. Okay, I know.
I
Now I
heard it.
know.
You
Yeah,
can do it right now, no? Something like this.
Yeah,
yeah. You
actually,
can.
right now, Spotify, if you open your Spotify, you could open any playlist created by Spotify, and it's possible that some of the songs and the artists you see are actually AI songs. They
I don't know
just,
how I feel about that.
It's
yeah,
funny.
it's
That's,
horrible,
that's
but
always exist in the music industry.
Yeah.
When you see some artists, they are like behind. Yeah, they even don't write. They don't
Yeah.
make the melody. They're just nice looking and
Yeah.
training some singer listens.
Milli Vanilli test stuff, huh?
It's always the music industry.
yeah.
Milli Vanilli 2.0.
Yeah, it's kind of the evolution, right? Like
Yeah.
we went from instruments and classical music to now electronic, and I can
Yeah.
imagine back then the classical instrument players and the musicians or producers would be thinking like, "Oh, this electronic thing is gonna completely change the game. I don't know how I feel about it." And maybe now it's transitioning into an even more advanced layer of digital.
I maybe I'm old and stubborn, but I don't believe
Yeah.
in I don't believe in AI, to be to be honest.
Personally,
I
if
think it's a
It's already,
big.
it's already
yeah.
existing in the music industry. I'm
Yeah,
telling you.
but
Yeah.
I know, but
No,
it's
but
like
I mean,
it's like it's existing. It's like, for me, it's existing
it's
in the
not.
form as what's it called? What's the pain thing called? What's the
Ra-
pain? What do you use this to change his
Ah,
voice?
you the
Oh,
Auto
auto
tune.
tune, auto
auto-tune,
tune.
auto-tune.
It
Yeah.
exists in a
Auto-tune.
form of auto
Yeah,
tune.
that's
You
why
know
I'm
what I
Yeah.
saying.
mean? Yeah, but it doesn't really exist. I mean, it feeds on what's there.
Yeah,
You know
absolutely.
what? AI is not like, it's not an all-seeing thing that can
Yeah.
create. It exists on what you put into it. With ChatGPT, if you ask him a question about yourself, it finds things about you online or what you put in yourself,
Yeah.
and it gives it to you. So it's not like this magic thing that
No.
it's going to be above the original. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just faster and has a bigger reach to create something. That's
Yeah,
the
just
beautiful thing
quick
about it.
things.
Yeah.
If I'm allowed to share a perspective as an artist myself, I always feel like music is something that actually comes through the artist. Like you generate a frequency, and on the other side, that frequency, that energy is received as energy in motion or emotion by the recipient. And I feel my perspective is if you create something with AI, there is no energy created. It's more, yeah, it's generated, it's just it's an output, but all the struggle that an artist goes through, like finding the perfect sample and all of that effort sort of takes down the energy level that I receive as an audience. So
Yeah, but like you said, to talk into your deep terms,
Yeah, it depends what you want to do.
if your frequency is not that complicated, it will work, and that's how you have AI in like house, in trance, in
so
house.
AI can work.
Yeah, of course it can work, and it even can work on me when I'm drunk and my energy is low. You can put up an AI song and I will go
Yeah,
crazy
you won't
on it.
know.
You know what I
You
mean?
won't know.
But if you're in a more complicated, more, let's say, earthly vibe and energy,
Yeah.
those things, they just come into your ear and it even hurts, to hear. So uh, there you have it. It's fake, and sometimes fake works for you, but most of the time, you know, it doesn't.
Do you use Spotify Wrapped or like the yearly wraps
Spotify,
wrap?
if I use it,
No, if you see your wrap, like how your year has been
I
on.
used to, but I haven't seen it in like a few years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So if I ask you what was the top genre that you've been playing recently in
I think I saw
24?
it last year, not 2023, 24. And but my one is always off, to be honest, bro, because
Yours is off.
it's off.
It's like that's not what I'm listening
No,
to.
because I use Spotify for certain genres, and I was into 80s funk, and post disco.
Right.
That's why I mean, now even if
80s funk and post disco.
80s funk and post disco. So
It's very niche.
yeah, so it would be um, George Benson to first albums of Madonna to
Nice.
Luther Vandross to that type of stuff. So
Yeah.
that's what I use it for. But that doesn't.
Old school.
Yeah, and if I want to listen to private school on my piano, it's probably on YouTube. So you know what I mean? Or Drake. I remember Drake being like number one on Spotify for me because I always went there to listen to the old albums
Yeah.
of Drake.
But he not
Yeah.
like us anymore.
Well, for me, Drake is Drake, man. I don't.
You don't bite into the
No,
whole
I don't go into the
gimmick.
trends. I love the battle rap. It's perfect, and it
Yeah, it brings
and
a
it was
lot.
beautiful for hip hop. But
Yeah.
Drake is still Drake, and Kendrick is still Kendrick, and
Absolutely.
I use music
Absolutely.
for my own
Yeah.
my own healing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very well said. You
Yeah.
use music for your own healing, and the battle brings more music.
Otherwise, I wouldn't be listening to R. Kelly anymore.
So
I
that's why I
wouldn't be
was.
used. I will listen to Kanye, my number one fan. I'm scared to even say I'm a fan of Kanye.
So when you heard Drake,
If you're a fan, you call him Yay.
If you're a real fan, you just call him Kanye because Ye is not doing good for the world
so you have,
lately.
you have a music when you're heartbroken.
Hmm?
When you're heartbroken, you have a music.
Drake.
Drake.
When I was young, I mean, Drake was perfect for me.
Yeah.
I had one Drake song that was a heartbreak song for me, so perfect. Yeah, that was Drake. But I haven't had my heart broken after that, and it's 10 years ago.
Yeah,
so
because we were saying about healing yourself, and that's where we stand. Is how we can heal better
Yeah.
ourselves with music. That's why we spread and share artists'
Yeah.
feeling and everything. So, thanks a lot for coming.
Thanks
Be
for
our
having
guest
me.
on the couch, and yeah, we look forward to going to Favela.
Come by.
Yeah,
I'll
soon,
be glad
soon.
to have you there,
Thank you.
guys.
Yeah.
You have to be ready though to.
Yeah, thank you so much. My Friday next week is definitely booked. Post the shoot. Me and Thibaut, we come to Favela,
Great.
most likely. Before you leave us, Kevin, we are definitely interested in knowing what you're working on. If there's something you would love to
Mm,
share, except for the party next week, is something big in works.
yeah. Yes, but nothing is really confirmed, so I can't.
You can't share.
I can't share, unfortunately, and it's not my project. I
Yeah.
asked for it, so
That's what happens in creative industry. Until things
yeah, it
actually
will be a little
happen, you
bit
don't
bad.
share nothing.
Yeah, I can't share it. I can say this: Amsterdam is 750 years old,
Yeah,
so there's a lot of things happening,
absolutely.
and there's also one project happening where
Yeah.
we will be
And King's Day is coming
helping.
soon, in a month.
Yeah. King's Day is coming again. I see you're very excited for it.
Yeah. Do you have something in plan in store for King's Day?
Nah, for me, King's Day is
Stay at home.
no. I'm not
Put
that.
on
I'm not
Drake.
that person. That's no. I'm not
80s,
that.
80s jazz.
No, I will never be that person. I still want to find
A party.
the little bit of joy that's to find
if it's not raining.
in
though.
between the masses, and if it's not raining. But yeah, it's for me. It's just King's Day.
Yeah.
We've had it in the 80s and 90s. 80s, Jesus Christ. In the 90s, I'm not that old. But I've enjoyed it in the 37. I've enjoyed it in the 90s as a kid, and
Yeah.
but it's not the same anymore.
No. It
Yeah.
used to be bigger, I've heard. The
I mean, not bigger, but no rules.
the queen was more liberal with the parties.
Yeah, there were no rules, man. So kids you're 12 and you're going with 20 kids, boys and girls. You walk all the way from Amsterdam West to the city. You've got 15 guilders in your pocket and it's game on, throwing eggs at a person at the dumb square,
Amazing. Yeah.
catching,
We do not promote violence.
yeah. Or Schule, where these like damn pieces where you shuffle it on this board and it goes into these holes.
Please remind me to label this video not made for kids.
No, it's a. But anyways, there's a lot of games you could play.
I'm joking.
And there was music and block parties, and now it's all
Yeah.
nice. Yeah,
Thibaut is already networking.
yeah. But anyways,
Thank you so
So,
much for having
thank you for having me too.
being here. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for sharing your journey. It's been
It was a
a
pleasure.
real pleasure as well. And it was such a good conversation, guys. Like
Yeah.
we went from Bob Marley, jazz to everywhere.
Yeah.
Back to Amsterdam now. Thank you to the crew as well, to the unnamed, unknown, and unpaid podcast. See you next week. Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
But the guys, like the
Wow.
yeah,
Wow, you
Nice job.